argues that the Indus script preserves the earliest fully crystallized forms of Indo-Aryan cosmology and language, pushing back the timeline of Hindu intellectual development by more than a millennium. The decipherment presented here demonstrates that the cultural and philosophical structures later expressed in Vedic literature were already established in the Indus Valley civilization, revealing continuity rather than rupture between Harappan and early Indo-Aryan traditions. The findings challenge the prevailing scholarly model that placed the origins of Indo-Aryan language and religion in the late Bronze Age steppe. Instead, the evidence shows that the Indus people were themselves the earliest Indo-Aryans, speaking archaic form of Old Indo-Aryan that retains phonological features lost in later Sanskrit. The script encodes a mature cosmological system, recognizable in both the Vedic and Western thought, indicating that these traditions diverge from a shared ancestral worldview, rooted in the greater Kush long before the second millennium BCE. This reconstruction undermines both the Aryan invasion theory and the modern migration model, neither of which account for the linguistic, cosmological, and cultural continuity visible in the Indus record itself. Rather than depicting Indo-Aryans as external arrivals, the decipherment situates them as indigenous heirs to a deep civilizational lineage, whose intellectual foundations were already fully formed in the third millennium BCE. Comparative material from Neolithic Eurasia is included, only to illustrate the broader antiquity of this cosmological framework. The core argument, however, remains centered on the Indus script as the earliest written expression of the tradition that becomes the people and culture of India. Okay, so I talk a little bit about the southeastern European Neolithic script called Vika, okay, the Vika culture in the Balkan area. Okay, and that's between 5300 and 4500 BCE in looking out. There's a lot of similarity between the Vika script and the Indus Valley civilization script. Too much, too much. I do believe that there is a deep time derivative between the two languages, Sanskrit and therefore Indus Valley script, and the Vika or Tartus culture script. I'm not saying that the Indo-Aryans are European. You know, there's such a vast amount of time that from the Neolithic period all the way up to the Vedic period. And so I'm still stating that the Indo-Aryan or Indus people are indigenous to India. They are not an invading group. If you think about it, everyone comes from Africa, right? But we don't sit there and say that we're African, right? So it's the same concept. Over time, peoples move across the earth, right? And settle in different areas. And so over time, they lose that connection to the previous place. But I do believe that at some point in deep time, the Vika culture, of course, is the origin point for most old world cultures and people. After moving up out of Africa. Just to show the kind of continuity here, you can kind of see how that is fairly consistent. And these are just several relay signs compared to the 200 that exist in the will state clearly that the Indus sign system behaves the same way. It's also an Gita script, which basically means you take the rebus, or the abbreviation of a sign's meaning, right? Most of them are objects. For example, this is the sign of here's bar. It means door. This is the sign for door. However, you rebus it to the first syllable, D-V-A. And so that becomes the meaning for the sign, not the full word. So that is basically what rebus is. So again, we have all of these signs that are exact copies of each other, if not very similar. So I'm going to discuss that very briefly, and before we get into how the structure of the actual sign system for the Indus Valley exists, how it was structured. So these are the Indus sign list, right? Indus sign. We started out with anthropomorphic signs. Did a very good job of classifying and sorting out the signs, also by sites like Louisville and Gilbara. And hi, hey guy. Hey, how are you? And so he does a really good job. Pretty impressed. They're, going through the script, I now see a few errors, but I mean, he does a great job. So we're talking about the Indus Valley script. This is from the Harappan civilization and the Indus Valley civilization from India. Okay. It's extremely old. And I'm talking about the decipherment of the script. I started March 4th, and I've been continually working on it since then. Is it? just like buffering. So you're hearing an echo. Is that any better? I don't understand. It must be my settings because I've used every single audio tool I can possibly think of for an audio device. I've used right now I'm using the webcam audio. I've used a Razer headset audio. I've used another headset's audio. So it has to be my settings. Here, does that help any, or do you still hear static? Oh, big strain, I remember that. Do something? I am doing something, I'm trying. Okay, this. Okay, Bluetooth connected on this. Alright. Turning that one off. Changing this one. Yeah, I'm trying to remember too, because good lord, I'm just tired of having to do this every time. Alright, default headset. Please work this time. What'd I do? It's good now? Or no? Son of... Alright. Is it better now? I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait a second. Da-da-da-da-da. There seems to be like somewhat of a delay, so... Anything? What do you mean do something next time?
What do you mean by that? It is better? Is it gone completely or no? At least... how's that? I did one different setting change. I can see that it's picking up something. What in the heck is that? Alright. I'm good. Oh, I know what I can do. I can add... I could do like a noise gate. And I might be able to reduce the background noise, whatever's happening. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. This is listenable. That's fantastic. It's listenable. Alright. Whoa. I put on a noise gate and I think that might have done it. Is what real? The script? Yes. Yes, it is. Alright. Sound quality okay? I put a noise gate up. Alright. Okay, so is it too loud? I can turn it down if need be. I don't wanna it'll be yelling in y'all's ears. Okay. Back to where we were. Thank God. Okay, now I know it's a noise gate. It suppresses, I think it's the hum for my computer, to be quite honest with you. Alright, so I'm going to continue. I don't want to take too long because there's a lot more information. I did. It's still a mystery IG? What's IG mean? I'm not very good with the acronyms. Thank you, Striker. Okay. So yes, I deciphered this March 4th of this year and have continued to work on it. I was MIA for 2 weeks and I have a lot more. You guys are going to love it. But I'm going to start from the beginning for Guy here. Okay, so I decided to rename it the Mahasamvani. Okay, it's pretty much the great complete collection of words, right? But a much more philosophical. Oh, it means I guess. Okay, thank you. Alright, so this is the lexicon of the Indus scripts, and basically I've got, you can ignore all that part. Here are the rules. I made it very straightforward, okay? So you have the anthropomorphic rules, right? All of the Nara signs, right? Nara means man. So all of these are Nara signs. And, oh, wrong one. Let's go back to this one. I'm going to move this way. Okay, so, yes, it is Sanskrit. Absolutely. And what's cool about it is that it retains the alveolar sibilant fricatives, okay, TS. So, current classical Sanskrit words like Subhu are not spelled S-U-B-H-U, they're spelled T-S-U-B-H-U. So it's a ts rather than a s noise. And that comes from the Proto-Indo-Aryan dialect, okay, from just before the emergence of Sanskrit. Also, I forgot to add this part, but the vocalic L and vocalic R do exist in Indus Sanskrit. That's what I'm calling it, Indus Sanskrit. It was dropped in Vedic, showed up again in Devanagari. So it still retains those, which is cool. I finally found those. But what really helped me crack this was studying the current Indic scripts, all of them, looking at all of them, because each one retains an element of one particular sign there and here, and you can see the evolution and how it disperses across all of them. Of course, Devanagari retains the most because it's, a Western script, and that's where the Indus Valley civilization is, of course, in the West. So yes, the anthropomorphic rules, okay? When a Nara sign is holding one object, the focus is the object. You're not supposed to include Nara in the word. The word is the object. It's not to be rebused at all or abbreviated to the first syllable. So you'll hear me say rebus a lot, and that's the fancy way of saying you're abbreviating the word for the sign, whatever object or it is, to the very first syllable for the most part. Okay, so it can either be consonant vowel or consonant vowel consonant. Okay, that's CV or CVC. Right here. Okay. Oh, you are? Awesome! Cool. Cool, cool. What part? So do you live there now, or? That's freaking awesome. Yay, glad to have you. So the two objects, right? Two objects being held mean it's no longer the object you're looking at or wanting to focus on, but the role of the person. Okay, for example, sign 29, okay? And then 28 here. Cool, awesome. So Tamil Nadu area. So here is the sign for the bow, okay? Focus is the object because it's only one object in the hand. Here the focus is the role. Same thing here. This is the role of the person. This is the object the person is holding. So on and so forth. It's the same. So those two rules are the same across the board, okay? Yeah. And you'll see little things that stand out after a while, just out of practicality, that they have to do in the script, so it's not, there's not a mix-up between one sign or the other, and you'll see what I mean. I'll try to point it out. All right. So this is Pashupati, okay? The sh noise of Pashupati usually is written with an S with a small line above it. So if you see the S with a line above it that's at an angle, that's the sh noise. Okay, so this is Pashupati, a lord of animals. Pashu is animals, Pati is lord. Okay, this has been determined to be a proto-Shiva, Lord Shiva, in Hinduism. However, it's a script, because these are images, right? You have images, but this is writing. Okay, there's a certain structure to it. It's, you know, it behaves like writing if you factor in where each sign is seated. You can actually tell that it's like nouns, adjectives, roles, like all this stuff when you look at it. So yes, they are images. They're logographic, right? So they're images of objects. But as any early writing goes, you do that anyway. It's pictographic, but they represent sounds nonetheless. So this, the Indus Valley, but I don't want to get too far ahead. So this is Pashupati. Okay, he's sitting. Okay, you have a tiger, an elephant, a rhino, and a bull. This is a water buffalo, but it is a bull. Okay. And then you have two deer down here. And this guy is important, okay? He's been called a proto-early Shiva, but I know that this is not a proto-Shiva, it is Shiva. Sometimes he'll be depicted as half bull with bull horns. That is not because he's some different god. It is because he's showing the embodiment of the Nandi bull. Not that he is half bull. Okay, here is a very ancient coin, okay? Yes, the Nandi bull is Shiva's vehicle. Yep. And this is a coin with the Nandi bull on one side. You can see his ears. Okay. And the his hat, his horned hat. Okay. And on the reverse side is a boar. Okay, you can see his tusks right here. And he's also wearing the cow horn hat. Okay. You can see the sign for the Nandi bull here, wearing the hat. Yep. Here's a deer. And what has been grouped with the fish signs down here? You can see all these fish. Okay. This is not a fish. 67, 68, and 69 are not fish. These are boar heads. This one might not be because the lines are longer, but I would like to see the original. I do not believe that this is anything but the boar head with the horned crown or the horned hat. So you got 4 tusks on a boar, okay, and then the 2 ears. So this is Varaha, right? I'm an English speaker, so I do apologize if I'm butchering the pronunciation. I'm gonna start listening to pronunciations online to try to actually say this properly, but it's Varaha, and that's rebus to Vara. Yes, it's 2 syllables. Sometimes, very rarely, the rules aren't applied. But for the most part, they stay even. Okay, so this is Vara. Okay, so here I note that I said some instances in which the rules are broken. It's extremely rare that happens, but it does happen. Okay. the structural reading. You have nested, okay, one sign inside another. It's in the foreground. Okay, you have composite signs where other signs modify a larger sign. Got Devanagari right here. Conjuncts with ka. You add two different syllables together, ka and sa, or sha, ka and va, and it becomes a conjunct, kva. Okay. The same happens with this. You also have stacked signs, and you read those from the top to the bottom. Those are vertical stacked. Okay, the rebus rules. Not all signs rebus and not all signs rebus to the first syllable. That's rare, but it does happen. Okay. And not all signs have an inherent A for the primary base sign, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Basically, you've got a base sign, meaning no extra marks on it, right? For example, 67. That's the base sign for the bore, okay? So you would assume that there's an A on the end, but that doesn't always happen. But for the most part, it does. Okay, so now that we have those rules established, you'll kind of get into the swing of things, okay? I'm going to read in full inscriptions, and then I'll go back through this sign list and we'll go through the lexicon together, okay? Which is this. Okay. Okay, so this is the boarhead signs right here. Okay. Weights, measurements, and administrative control in the Indus Valley civilization was extremely important. Okay, they were wonderful master architects, right? So when I looked at this sign, I knew right away that this was a measuring cube made out of stone on a line, right? So this had to do with measurement. I knew that right away. There's a base sign, right? Remember we said primary base signs. And in the Abugida script, it would be an A on the end, right? So this, 249, is the base of 252. Yeah, no, do your thing. I'm trying to be more concise this time, so. And I appreciate your patience. But yeah, you're more than welcome to come back in if you feel like it, or. Okay, where was I? Okay, so this is Ma. 249 is Ma. It's the base sign of 252. It's the base sign of 251. And it is the base sign of this one as well. 267. 261 is the base sign for all of these other squares. Okay. Here, and I discuss in detail how to read them. But let's get to the good stuff. At first I thought these were what they call visargas. You know, it's a grammatical thing, but they're not. I actually was able to figure those out. What happened to the language? So the language is Sanskrit, so it still exists, obviously, right? Sanskrit, it's still here. The Indus Valley Civilization script, or IS, Indus script, is the original script of Sanskrit. So, you know, scholars have always said there is no original Sanskrit script, but now we know there is. It is the Indus script. And Brahmi is derived from the Indus script. I guess it is. I'll show you. I'll show you. Okay, so here's the Nandi bull with the sign for Stha on his shoulder. Okay. Well, it's an early writing script, so no, it's not going to look the same. But I'm going to show you where a lot of the current Indic script signs come from in depth. I'll show you, and you'll be like, wow, because it's really neat, super neat. Okay, trust the process. All right. Okay, so the Nandi bull in this particular seal, okay, yes, I understand. Yep. So the Indus Valley Civilization script is not Dravidian. So this is an early script. It's not going to look like current script because there's an evolution during that entire time frame. All right, so here's the Nandi bull, okay? There's two signs in this one. It's a composite sign, okay? You have Sa, or, yes, not the Nandi bull, yeah. Oy vey. Is a piece of Shiva? No, Nandi is the vehicle of Shiva. So this is two different signs. It's a composite sign. This is the nested grapheme, right? So you have Sa on the inside, and then Tha or Ta on the outside. And so what you do is you drop the initial vowel, okay, just like in Sanskrit. You drop the initial vowel of A that's attached to the S, and you put Tha or Ta. So it's Stha, okay? Yes. And it's a deity in its own right, okay? So Stha, this is the sign for Stha, standing firm, okay? Literally, that's what it means. And that is why this Nandi bull here has it directly on its body, because it represents standing firm. All right? We already know, okay, that this oval on the outside edge right here, we already know currently that it represents Tha or Ta, okay? That is already established. So a lot of these, I didn't even have to really do much because they already are attested. For example, we know that this is Ba already. Okay. Oops. This is Ba. Let's see what else. We know that this is Ka and Tha when it's separated. Okay. We know that this is Ka. So this is Katha or Kata. There's a bunch in here that was super easy for me to figure out. See, this is Tha or Ta. It's the yoni. And then later, over the course of time, it becomes the circle. It's represented as a circle instead. Anyway, I don't want to get caught up on that, and I want to continue. Okay, so here we have two different seals, okay? Both are deities, of course, standing firm, okay, against tiger attack. Okay, they are embodying Stha. So this is a male, and this is a female. So you have the epithet Sthanu, okay? Became Sanskrit? No, it is Sanskrit. It is Sanskrit. It didn't become Sanskrit, it was already Sanskrit. So the Indus Valley people are Indo-Aryan. and they spoke Sanskrit. So the same sign appears over her head, okay? That is Stha. She is standing firm. She is embodying standing firm. So it's not just Lord Shiva that stands firm. It's all of the deities, all the devas, okay? Because you, through the seals and all of that, you find out that the idea of Stha is standing, literally standing firm against physical attack by these animals. And that is why Pashupati is sitting in Virasana, surrounded by these large animals. Okay, let me get back to it. Actually, I think I posted it again later in the paper. See, we have, oh, there it is. See, we have a rhino, right? A very beautiful, detailed one with the Stha sign. Okay, and that is why each one of these animals is large and or ferocious. They literally embody Stha. They stand firm because nothing can stand up against them, right? So Pashupati is embodying standing firm, what these animals represent. Each one is Stha. Okay? So that is what he's doing. He's rendering their, he's embodying Stha in this scene. This one, you're going to love, Guy, okay? You're going to love it. This is the first time that we see a surname, okay? It's Bukya, right here. This is the K noise. This arc is K. This is Ya. K. Bukya, right? Bu. Kia. Remember, the square is Ba. This small thing is H. Bu. Kia. It's what? So this is Bukya. So in Rajasthan, there is the Labadi group, or Banjara, right? One of their clan names is Bukya. Yes, Sanskrit is from Proto-Indo-Aryan. So you have to understand that Hinduism was already fully formed by 3300 BCE. Okay, fully formed. And I'm going to show you why from the inscriptions. Okay, so this is Bu, Kia, Bukya. It's a last name, still in use. Here is Sru Kia. This is A Kia. This is a dependent A. It can also be written out as a large A for A or Ha. Okay. Here we have a composite to represent the Ka noise. Okay, you've got a Ka sign attached to the A. This is Akya. This is Ka Akya. Ka Akya. You guys feel free to share the live if you know of anybody that you think would benefit from this or would be interested in it. Okay, this again, these are nested graphemes as well. I know they don't look like it at first, but you can only fit so many other signs inside these particular ones. So let me explain that a little bit more. Okay, so let's go back over here. These are not numbers, they actually are syllables. And these all involve what they call rasa. Okay, it's essence. Okay, these are all the rasa, for the most part, involve rasa or aya, A-Y-A, as a suffix, or ihi, okay? Okay, they are, look, see this? This is a script. It is a script. Let's move on from that. Okay. These are the rasa signs, except for a few of them. I lost my train of thought now. Okay. These are nested. You've got a compound inside of another sign. This is tha. It can't be connected at the top because the signs are too big, right? So the outside sign is, that outside sign is, where'd it go? This one, 373. It's expanded, right? And so that's what you're seeing with this. They're all expanded signs. It just looks different because they're so large and the shape of them. All right, onward. So this is rasa. Okay, you have the ra sign in the center. This is also nested, but because there's already a sign with 3 lines that attach at the top, you can't do that again to make a nested one for this sign. So you have to separate them where it makes it look like they're just numbered lines, but they're not. It's ra and sa together. Ra's on the inside. You always read the inside sign first, and then move to the outer edge, to the outside one. So it's ra and then sa. So all of these are rasa signs. Okay. Here we have na, which we have na already in current Indic script. So that was easy. This is na. It comes from nadha. Okay. This is rasa. Okay, so in Sanskrit, you repeat a word to say the best of, or the most excellent of, right? Rasa, the best essence. Okay, when you have a repeated letter, for example, this A and this A, you absorb them, you collapse them together, and it's just one A. Okay, making it haya. All right, so let's get on with this. These are the decipherments and translations. There is a lot, okay? Pretty exciting, okay? So this is pa. It means protector. Okay? Pa, ri. This is the pa sign, but you have a diacritic of I on the inside. Pa, ri, pi, ka, akya. The purifier, and he is known by name, or he's called the purifier. You can say it either way. Okay. This is the ta sign with an I. Ti, ya, tha, bu. Okay. Here in the manner of the unmanifest. Okay. This is the ja sign. We all know ja exists in current Indic script. Super easy to figure that one out. So ja, ya, okay. T, and if you look really close, you can see the fish sign. That's why it's overlapping. This is the fish sign in the center. It's created by overlapping these two. T, this is meter. Okay, the fish sign is mina, rebus to me. The slash on the inside of it represents TR, or T. Okay? So this is T, meter, T, or mitra, T, mitra, T. Now, in the Indus script, the vowel in the front of a word is understood. You do not have to draw an extra diacritic, and typically when you do draw or when they do carve a dependent A at the beginning, it's to represent a negation, not whatever the following word is, right? So abu, un or not manifest, right? I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, but for the most part, ti mitrati, okay, is a ti mitrati. Typically, you'll see an A or a U dropped at the beginning. Not a big deal. Okay. Ja, ya, ati mitrati. Victory and peaceful accord or treaty. Okay. This is what I find interesting. Shri is always at the end of the epithets, none at the beginning. So I've noticed throughout the Indus script, when they're speaking, right, when they're writing, they put the modifier a lot of times after the object. Okay, so here we have ma for measure, right? This is a measuring cube. Ma, pa, shri. Mapa shri. Okay, the splendor of Mapa, which is an epithet for Vishnu. Okay. Pa, ya, ma, shriya. Now this is shriya because there's a concept of what they call vocalic glide. Okay, when you have two vowels together, you have to have some sort of sound between them, right? So it's usually a Y or an H. Okay, so this is Surya. Abu. Okay, now I did notice, right, that you've got two different meanings, for Payama, okay? It can be the great milk, the joy of the unborn, or the mother's milk. This was difficult. This is when I started seeing a lot of redaction. This is pra, okay? Ma, di. There's the diacritic there. Pramadi, okay? Madi is short for ma'adi, okay? Pra ma'adi hava ba. So bari means house or enclosure. Okay, so that's rebused or abbreviated to ba. So hava ba. Now, hava ba by itself doesn't make any sense. But if you understand the alternation, right? The alternate letter for B is V in Sanskrit. So it's not hava ba, but hava va. Okay? And that's the invocation of water, hava va. So it's the beginning, the primordial mother, the invocation of water. Okay. Here we have pa, ka, ya. Yatha, right? Ya, read the inside first, outside second. Yatha, pi. Pakaya yatha pi. Okay, the dependent condition aligned precisely. And this is a Hindu concept. Right, so it's already established. These ideas in belief are already well established by the time the Indus script exists. I love this one. It's very simple and straight to the point. Japata. Japata. The state of one who mutters prayers. Right? This is pa-kia. So typically whenever you see the kia sign, this is a name. Okay. Pakya. Could be called protector. Right? That could be a first name. Most likely a first name. So all of these, quote, surnames that you're seeing are the progenitor of the clan of that said surname. Okay, so these are the original individuals. Okay. Here we have pa, tree. Pa, tree. Remember I said the slash is tr? Okay. Tr, hi. Pa, tree. Boo. So I do believe that this, for Patri, makes the most sense. The consort of the unmanifest. This is where it really starts to unravel. Not unravel, but like it's beautiful. The the Nara sign. Okay, this is Nara. This is one of the ones that breaks the rule, right? Nara, and then Pa. Nara, Pa, and then you have T. So what's neat about this sign is you can read it either direction. This is the only one that I've seen that way, that it's being used as iti, T, it's either or. But context is key. So this is Nara Pati. Nara Pati Iti Abu. The Lord of Men, lo or behold, the unmanifest. I might have misspelled that. Itya Yatha Abu. Approached as the unmanifest. Iti, and this is Ka with an H. I should have put K-H-A, but that's okay. Iti Ka Mi Ja. Mija, I found out, is actually one whole word. Gatha Vira. Here it might not be one whole word, but in other ones it is. That's the hard part about this. You don't know until you have the whole context. So it says, having the speed of my swift song of the hero. However, Mija is also in reference to offerings like medya. I now know what this sign is. I forgot to go back and edit it, but this is Pa. This is this. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. This right here is a compound. It's not an object of something, or it's not a sign for an object like a fish or whatever. So you have three different signs together. Sa, the triangle. Then you have half of one sign, right? This arc with the little thing at the top. That's an n, right? Not an n, but an n noise. And then you have the little spikes here are from Ja, right here. Okay, so it's Sanja, Pa Sanja, Mitra, Gatha. Pasanja Mitra Gatha. Okay, it's and typically after you see the word Pa for protector, you almost always see the name of the deity. Okay, this is an epithet for Shiva, Sanja. Pasanja Mitra Gatha. Okay, this is not God Mitra. I forgot to take that out. This is the word Mitra. When Mitra's name is actually spelled out, he'll have the fish sign and then a connected Y for Tra. So that's his whole name spelled out. This is not. This is always meaning friend or ally. Okay, so Pasanja Mitra Gatha. It's hard for me to say that. And this is Pagama. Apagama. Death or unattachment. Okay. This one, I do believe, is referencing the Song of Creation in the Rig Veda. Okay. It's Ja, Ga, Tha, or Ta. It can be either or Ta or Tha. Ja, Ga, Ta, Gatha. The Song of the Universe. Here we have a bearer, and he's wearing the pa headdress, right? It's the horned headdress. So this is Bada. He's a bearer, right? Gatha, and then Ja's connected. Aja. Okay. This actually, okay, looks like the Phoenician sign for A. So I definitely know that the Middle Eastern languages do derive from the Indus script. And I know a lot of people have been throwing around, oh, I mean, they believe this because they didn't know any better, but, you know, previous scholars have said, oh, you know, the Brahmi and Indus derive from Aramaic and Arabic, and no, they don't. They're older than that, so anyway, I digress. So this is the I, right? So I-H, A, Bu, Abu. The bearer's song of the unborn, Aja, and the unmanifest, Abu. Okay. You'll see here it says the ruler of the Indus people is Bara. Okay. That's what it's referring to in these inscriptions. So a lot of these inscriptions are on seals. So it's always referencing the ruler of the Indus people. Okay. This is Bara Gatha. There's Aja, but then we have Ra on the end. So it's Ajara. Bara Gatha Ajara. The bearer's song of the imperishable. Bharagatha Aja e Pagama. Okay, the bearer's song of the unborn and unattachment. It could also mean death or departure, but I think in the context, unattachment would make more sense. Bu, Nam, this is a person bowing down. Okay, so in the anthropomorphic signs, there are never any heads drawn on the people, so that's why he doesn't have one. Okay, so Bu Nam Ma. Bu Nama Sru. See, this is the Sa sign up here, connected to the Ra sign. So Sru, but this is an R sign as well. You'll see what I mean. There's like 3 different signs in that one. So it's Sru. Okay, this is Shri. Sva. Bunama Sru Shri Sva. Okay, the manifest's name is the transmission of the auspicious self. Okay. Now this is Pa Ri Pi Ka Akya. The whole, the fragment, is named. This will make sense in the context of Hinduism, of Hindu philosophy, okay? And here we have Bhukya, right there, Bhukya. It no longer, I don't believe it means Bu as earth because of the repetition of Bu and how it's used in these inscriptions. We can now safely say that the surname Bhukya has nothing to do with the earth. It literally means manifest, being called manifest, okay? This is where we start to see the affricates, okay? TS. Again, remember the slash is TR or T, okay? This is, I'm going to show you something neat about the cow horn sign, because it is also its own sign, of course. Every sign that you see as a modifying sign is also its own primary sign elsewhere, which I think is absolutely amazing. Okay, so 205 is the cow horn. All right, let's go down to the lexicon that I have. It's not 205, that's right, 205. Okay. Okay. Classical Sanskrit says it Shringa, right? But originally, there's a evolution of this word. It originally is Su, S-U, Ringa, Suringa, not Shringa. And you can see that here, okay, in these words. So this is the affricative form because it's attached, modifying TTR slash. Okay, so it's TSU. This is Tsu. This is Ka, Suka. So it's not spelled S-U-K-H-A, it's T-S-U-K-H-A. That's the original way of saying it, Suka. Okay, so it's Suka Ajara. the bliss of the undecaying, or the bliss of the supreme spirit. Okay, this is Ga Tri Abu, Ga Tri Abu, the singer of the unmanifest. And you also have to remember, this is, still Vedic, right? Now it's early Vedic. So you've got the entire ritual of Agni, right? You have the singer, you have the different 4 classes of priests. Of course, during this time frame, there's no evidence of the specific 4 classes. I at least was able to identify 2. So that's good. Of course, that would be nice if we could find a whole lot more. I would love it. Okay, so here we have Bar. This is not Bara. This one is Bar. B-H-A-R. Okay, Bar Tri Abu, the mother of the unmanifest, or the unmanifest mother. Pa. This is going to blow your mind. Okay, remember I said that it goes object modifier instead of modifier object? This is a beautiful example. Okay. Pa. This is the spear sign, okay? You're not focusing on the Nara. The Nara is just there for reference to show you that you're looking at the object, not the raw sign, okay? So this is spear, so it's Shula. Pa, Shula, Tri, Abu. So it's not Tri Shula, it's Shula Tri, but is referencing the trident of Shiva. Pa, Shula, Tri, Abu. The protector's trident. He put this down because he wasn't sure how to categorize it. But I was able to figure out what it meant just through what I call relational reduction. Just looking at the structure of all the other signs and everything else. So this sign right here is a mat, right? A rug. Okay. What do you do? Like back then, you would sit on rugs, right? You still do to this day, but definitely then, okay? So this is asana. It represents seat or posture, because you're seated on the mat. Okay? Ra right here, remember? That's Ra. That is not Ra. This one is Shula. This one is Ra. This is Abu, unmanifest, unmanifest. Abu. So we have Asana Vara Ra Abu. Okay? So this is Vira, means hero, right? Virasana. Remember we said you collapse the A? So we have Vira and then Asana. So we take the A from Vira on the end and the beginning A of Asana and you collapse them together to create Virasana. So it's Virasana Vara Ra Abu. The noble seat of the hero, the radiant unmanifest. This is very simple. Vira Asana, Ta. Okay? Vira Sanata, the prostrated or seated hero. This is Payama Piyata. Ritual drink overflows with guided or well-restrained inspiration. I put divine speech because my causes. This is the sign for Sta. It is one of the most important signs. Line down the middle, but it's radiating in all directions. Right? Sa plus Tha. This is you put them together. It's conjunct, right? Sta. You don't say Satha. You say Sta. And that's another thing that's kind of annoying, is that, and this happens with other scripts, where you have to figure out, is it the name of an object? Is it representing an object? No? Okay. Is it a conjunct? No? Okay. Is it a whole lexical word? You have to. Alright, so Sta, Ma, Stama, strength or power. Okay. Bada, Shula, Subu, the bearer's powerful spear. Okay. Vira Ra is the role of the Dvara Pala. See, the person little Nara, is crossing the arms and holding a danda, or a rod. Okay? The Dvarapala is a guardian of the gate. Okay, that is its role. It's a spirit guardian of the gate of the temple. And they carry rods or maces. So that's what this is. This is a Dvarapala. This, of course, would not be rebus at all. So again, just a reminder, the alternation rules for B also means V. Okay? So instead of Raba, it's Rava. Okay? The hero roars or cries out as or for the guardian of the gate, the Dvarapala. Ista Ista, the most desired. So Ista Ista, Shula, okay, spear. Okay, this is an eye. This is, remember this is a measuring sign, so it's Ma, but because it's not the base sign, represent either one of those. That's how it's used. Okay, so when it's drawn inside, it represents Ha. Mha. So this is Mha. Imha, right? I'm probably butchering the pronunciation. Imha, okay? E, this is an ah noise. So you have to put a Y in between these two because these are two vowels, right? So it's Iya, K, Su. You can barely see it, but there's the cow horn right there. Okay? So it's Ista Ista, Shula Imha Iyaksu. The most desired spear proclaimed as desired. Here is Ista Ista Shula Itsubu. Pa. Then we have Mi. Tha Su. Mitra. Misa. This is Misa. Okay, Mi the fish, right? Mina. Here's the triangle sign. That's Sa. Misa. Now, it could also be Sami. They both mean the same thing. Typically, you read it from the top to the bottom, but I do believe that Misa would make sense, but Sami would also make sense. Okay? So it's the most desired spear intending to go forth or about to go forth, right? Because what do you do with a spear? You throw it, right? Okay. The protector, seeking mutual oath, unites with the allies. Okay. Here we have Pa Sta Sta, the most standing protector, or the most immovable protector. Okay, standing firm. Ja, Ja, Jaja, Sta, and here we have the god Mitra's name. It's fully spelled out to differentiate it from this Mitra. This means friend. This is the god's name right here. Mitra. Both of these are the caliper tong signs. Okay, and the calipers and tongs are used in Vedic ritual, right? So here's the Ta sign or the Tha sign on the left. Okay, this is the base sign, Graha. This is another variation of it, Gratha, right? So it's Jajasta, Mitra, Gratha, Grahasta. Okay, the warrior stands or is established. Mitra binds, takes hold, and establishes or stands firm. Now, Mitra is the god of oath, okay? Specifically in a warrior aspect, right? The warrior must take an oath, and that's what Mitra does, right? He's the god of oath. So he's binding them by their oath, he takes hold of them, and he stands firm. This is Sta Nam Bu. Sthanambu. It's the place of the unmanifest, the place of the manifest, or the place or home of the earth. I think the manifest makes more sense. Okay. This is another way they use mha to also represent maha, right? So it's that way they don't have to write anything else. They just use the same sign for maha. So this is maha sta shivaja. What I find interesting, for a while I was like, why is it saying like born of Shiva or whatever? I couldn't figure out. I'm like, why is this always attached to the name of the god? And I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized, wait a minute, I think there's another group of people that used ja on the end. And they speak Sanskrit, but so it's like an honorific to Shiva. So it's Shiva Ja. It's like honorific to Lord Shiva. So it's Mahasta Shiva Ja. And then Pri Ya. Okay. The great standing firm or immovable Shiva. This is Mahasta Shiva Ja. And then Pi Hava Va. The great immovable Shiva, so the invocation of water. Okay. Namu or Namo, Maha, because the cow, right, with the Pashupati hat is Mu or Mo. So this is Nam Mo. Namo Mahasta Asta. Homage to the Great One who stands firm in faith. Jaja Tra Vira. Jaja Tra Vira. The protecting warrior's hero, or it could mean go to the place of the hero. Vira Vara Abu. The excellent hero, the unmanifest. Pa A, like a vocalative like or like behold, right? Pa ta mita misa abu. The protector, behold, the wrathful one joins and comes forth from the unmanifest. Vira mahastapra. The great hero, the most exalted, immovable one. Nara is our Nara sign, right? Nara pa. Nara pa. Vara misa ista. The protector of men, the best among them in standing firm. Okay. I asked this question because I was just wondering this from a philosophical point of view. Like, is misa more like liminal, you know? Sta ya ma. I can't talk today, sorry. Sta yama, the moon. Pasana bara a na tir. Tir is the rebus of Tirtha. This is the sacred crossing. Okay. We already know that the yoke sign is na from Nadha. Okay. So Pasana Bada Anatir, the protector's posture, is the bearer who is not reclining. Okay, so that is talking about Pashupati's posture. Okay, he's standing up, he's standing firm, therefore he is Anatir, he's not reclining. Okay, and so I do believe that Pasana is a lost yogic position, right? It is the protector's seat or the protector's posture. So when he's standing firm against tiger attack, he has his arms outstretched. I do believe that that would have been included as a yogic posture later on in the Hatha Yoga, because it's talking about it here in those two different ways, right? Both in standing firm and as a not reclining protector posture. So I thought that was neat. Okay, so here we have a for no, right, or un, anatir. But then down here we have Natir. So it's Natir, Mitravara, Yatha, Vira. The reclining best friend, just as is the hero, or as the hero. Natir, Pa, Misa, Abu, the reclined protector amidst or among the unmanifest, or in union with, that works as well. Okay. This is a reconstructed chronology. Oh, sorry, this is not the reconstructed chronology. This is the chronology of the writings, okay, of scriptures. Okay. So now we can add the Indus script, okay, to the chronology of the scriptures. And what I really like to see here is that it's continuous. Which is amazing. Here I talk about the asana terminology, the yogic positions that we know of now. Okay, we have Dhanu asana. Okay, there's Kurma asana for the turtle. What else? There's Pa asana, the protector's posture, which is not included in the current Hatha Yoga, which I think now it should be. There's Virasana. That's all I've seen so far. Okay, let's keep going. Skip all this. This is how I show how I figure out what the unknown sign is. And this is how I tested out the Vira sign. Once I realized it was Vira, I was like, okay, let's see. Okay. So it says Vira Yama. I have not done all of this, but it says the hero Yama low, the hero unmanifest. Virakya Pragata Abu, the one called hero going forth from the unmanifest. Virabu, Rumira, Viramia. The unmanifest hero, the ocean sound, the hero passes as water, behold. Virapa, Sanja. This is Sanja. I figured this out a few days ago, so that's why it's not edited. Okay. This is an epithet for Lord Shiva. Sanja, the hero protector Sanja, the beloved. Vira, Tamita Ahi, Viraya. Okay. The hero, the wrathful snake, belonging to the hero. Okay. This I need to go back on because I'm unsure about this sign. Actually, no, wait. This is a kund. That's what that is. I did figure it out because it's in my lexicon. Okay. Alright, so this says Pa, Tha, Vira, Priya, the path of the hero, the beloved. Vira, Subu. See how this occurs again together? Subu, you'll see this a lot because you start to realize that, you start to recognize these lexical items, right? These whole words, because they're repeated in different ways throughout inscriptions. So Vira, Subu, Pa'a, Tamita. Okay. The mighty hero, the protector, behold the angry one, or the angered one. Okay, it's Rudra. So, Virasana, that is backwards. I don't know why I put Timati. I should say not that. I misspelled it. Okay, so Vira Ra Ka Iti. Pri Rasa. Remember how we talked about the rasa signs? Okay. Pri Rasa. So it's the hero. Remember, when you see a sign after Vira, if it's not attached to anything else, it's representing the hero. Right? The hero, Ra, or Agni, and thus is the pleasing essence. And Agni is associated with the pleasing essence, the rasa. Okay. This is Nara, Pa. This is the sign for door, so it's Dvara, but we rebus it to DVA. And remember, Indus, they will drop the first vowel, right? So they're using DVA as Deva. Narapa Deva, Pri Rasa, the protector of men, the Deva, the pleasing essence. Ja Pa Vira, Vira Rasa, the hero's mutterance, mantra, the heroic essence, Vira Rasa. Now, Vira Rasa in and of itself is already like a known classical theatrical art form expression, okay? But during the Indus period, it is not that, obviously. It's not talking about it from a theatrical perspective, okay? It's a ritual perspective. And I was floored when I found this because I didn't know what this was. When I translated this, I was like, heroic essence, okay, cool. And I moved onward. And through my research, I stumbled upon the phrase Vira Rasa, and I was like, hold on a minute. Isn't that in my paper? And I go back and I looked at it and I was like, oh my god, it's in there. And that's when I realized I was like, oh my gosh, it's a whole entire thing involved with Vira Rasa. So that's neat. That's really cool. Okay. And so I've learned quite a bit about Hinduism and Indian culture through this alone. And it's been an amazing road. It's definitely just mind-blowing. So anyway, so they're using japa vira, or japa, right, mutterance, to represent mantra. The hero's mutterance, the heroic essence. Okay. So, where are we? Okay, so japa, Shivaja, Vira. The mutterance, or mantra, I need to remove of the one born of Shiva and just put Shiva. Now that I know that Ja is being used as an honorific. Okay. This is Japa again. This is the Tirtha sign, right? However, it is Sa here, and Sa here, and here, and here, to make the X. So this is Sa Tirtha. Japa Sa Tirtha Vira. Pri Rasa. Ra's in the center of Sa. And of course you can't attach it, otherwise it would look exactly like Sa, and you can't have that, so it has to be separate. So Pri Rasa. Japa Sa Tirtha Vira Pri Rasa. The mantra of the sacred crossing or bathing places of the hero, the pleasing essence. Vira, Gatha, Aja, Shru, Danda, or Danda, Rasa, Pa, Vira. This is actually Havi. Okay. Havi. HVI, but they say Havi. Okay. Havi, Graha, Miti, Gratha, Vira. Vira Satirtha, This is, now I haven't gone back and edited this. I did a lot of work over these 2 weeks, so I'm just kind of saying it out loud. Vira Satirtha, an O alternation can be AU or U in Sanskrit. Okay. Vira Satirtha Adru. This is a scorpion. Okay. And the scorpion, Druna or Drona. It's written either way with a U or an O. And I rebused it to DRU. So it's Adru Vira. Okay. The hero song of the unborn, the flowing rod's essence, the offering. Oh, and by the way, I need to say this because the measure, the word for measure, like ma or whatever, means physical form. I did a whole other paper on matsya, the word for fish. The syllable ma, the root word ma, means measure, form, value, but it always represents a physical form. So I realized that ma is being used to represent physical form, not measure or value. So I've got that has to be edited. Okay. So it's another way of saying avatar. Matsya, anyway. Okay, so Narapa, okay, Narapa, Deva Ananti. Narapa Deva Ananti, Sru Rasa Brahmi Asta, Vira Rama, Amhaya, and then T is understood, Vira. Okay. Vira Prasu, Soma, Vira. Okay, remember the Nara sign, he's holding the cup. Okay, this is Soma. Vira Prasu, Soma, Vira. The hero presses the hero, Soma. Okay. Here is Vira Rama. Okay. Ha, Ya. And then Vira. Okay, so it's the protector of men, the eternal Deva, flowing juice forth as water like a torrent. So sa, okay, here in this context is not standing firm. So the opposite of not standing firm is a torrent. Okay, and that's a lot of how Sanskrit develops the opposing word. You just put the negation a in front of the word, right? So not standing firm just means torrent. The opposite of sta. Okay. So it's flowing juice forth as water like a torrent. The hero Rama presses together the hero Soma. Soma is understood because Soma is not only a plant, okay, it is also a god, the god Soma, and also the drink Soma. So this whole inscription is talking about the creation of Soma. Okay. So here it's understood Soma, but then it actually goes down here and actually says it. The hero presses the hero Soma. This is Pa Kavira Prirasa, the mature hero, the beloved essence. Ja Narapa Vira. So here's Vira, Gra, Ista, Vira Yati, Rasa. The hero holds by standing in, he impels or sets in motion the essence. Okay. Para Gata Aja I Asana Vira. The bearer's song of the unborn goes forth as the seat of the hero. It says the childless, Avira, right? In my belief, and it strongly supports, it's talking about the Deva, okay, for Bhakti Yoga, right? So they're childless due to devotion. So instead of it being Kia, it's Thea or Tia. So it's Viratya Vira. by the ascetics, because being an ascetic is difficult, right? So it's the road ud, is flying upward, right? Ud, asana, vira, ya, dhanusana, vira. The noble hero in the unmoving, grounded are doing the opposite of the other, right? One is unmoving and grounded, the other one is advancing in the bow seat on the horse. Okay. This is Vira Aja. Now there are two different forms of this Aja, okay? This is not Aja meaning unborn, okay? This is a double J. Okay, double J H, right? Right here. So I'll show you the other form later on. Okay, just remind me. Aja. Okay, the inner hero within oneself, right? Okay, so this is Sanja. I don't know what this is still, but it's paired with Sanja a lot. Yeah, so Vira. Vira, Par, Ama, Anam, Vira. The protector, Sanja, or Shiva, bows before the hero. The ultimate hero bows before the hero. Okay, so Vira, Papya, Sra, Nasa. This, I figured out. It's actually a burial cyst. It's an area. I'm going to show you the burial cyst signs. There's two of them. I was racking my brain trying to figure out what these were. Okay? For a long time. These are bricks. This is a mat or a rug. Okay, and I was like, this is an aerial view of something. Is it? We already know we have an aerial view of a house or enclosure. What was it? Oh gosh. I stumbled across some images of burial cysts that were found. Let me just go through the images instead of clicking on this one on that. Wow, that's so close up. We can't see what's going on. Okay. Here we go, right here, that we're looking at. Okay. And the reason why I know it's this is because these burial cysts also have pots placed inside them, just like a single one. And that's what's happening here. The pot's in this one, and it's not what word is being used. So that's exciting. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Alright, I'm going to skip all these Vera ones, and we're going to go down to the appendix. Because there's a lot more there. Okay, I talk about Natir and Nadi, or Nati. I've noticed a lot of times IR is preferred over IH on the endings of words. Also, again, here is the how they use redaction. Okay, how they drop the first vowel right here. Okay, the A. They use the sign mha for maha, va for hava, deva for deva, and here's an attested one. I included that just to kind of show. Okay, it's an already known thing in Sanskrit, right? And here we have pra for pura. No, that's not always the case. Again, context is important. Okay, so now we know that Brahmi is derived from the Indus, right? Sanskrit is already developed. The Hinduism is already well developed by 3300 BCE. So there, that's amazing. So here is the corrected chronological timeline of language development. Okay. So we have Prakrit, 300 BCE, Classical Sanskrit, 500 to 400 BCE, Vedic Sanskrit, 1500 to 1200 BCE, Indus Sanskrit, 3300 to 1300 BCE, Proto-Indo-Aryan, 4500 to 3300 BCE, Proto-Indo-Iranian, 5500 to 4500 BCE, Proto-Indo-European, 5500 BCE, and then of course Neolithic Eurasian, pre-6000 BCE. Okay, thereabouts. Okay. Now, Guy, if you're still here, let me know, because this is going to answer your question about the origin of some of these signs. Okay, we have the following rock art caves. Okay, Pahagar and Bin scale, because it has the yoke sign attached to it. Right? Thought it was a scale, but it's not. It's the aerial view of a bullock cart. And this is how I figured that one out. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh. A bullock cart is a vahana. It is a vehicle. That is why in the scripts, V or Va is the exact same sign. It's this sign. It's got the same attachment, except it's smaller on here, but it's the same. You can especially see it here and here and here. And so you see the evolution of it. So now we know the origin of the V sign. Here is the body of a horse. You can see the same figure here and here. These might be Sakas, okay, Indo-Iranian tribe. But it could also be followed here, right here, okay, charioteer, because the feet are attached to these wheels right here. So this can be rebus to Rat or Roth. Okay. This is where we get into the Lava or Latva inscriptions. Okay. In the Indus script, they say it Latva. Okay. It's sweet offerings, sweet treats, usually round, made out of grain and different like honeys or whatever. Given out to everybody into the fire to Agni. So, or crop field. Pa vap mija gratha kalava or latva. Payama akalatva pasatirtha adru e kalatva. So the latva. The movement of the husband and also the latva. Right? So the movement of the husband during the right? a marriage is declared, and also the lot. This inscription I knew was extremely important because it occurs so often. Right? Do, da. Remember we read the background sign first. So this is Ra behind him. The calf of Shiva, right? Because Raja is an epithet for Shiva. Time we actually see Raja. Pa, Shiva, Mitravara, Vira. And here we have the epithet Stanu. Sta. Okay. Now this is where the vocalic glide comes in, okay? And this is how he was wrong on this point. But that's fine. But I'll explain it. Okay. So sign for nu from nudita, right? Vowels back to back. Okay. It's still collapsed to stanu, either way. Okay, so to kind of explain that here, but this is the epithet stanu. So Protector Shiva, my greatest friend, the hero, the immovable one. So this arch is a cave, okay? And nuda, or nude, okay, represents it means to push out, remove, expel, or scoop away. That's a cave. You remove material. Okay. So you've got nude, nuda, nudati. Here is where another really awesome one, okay, it's the name of the original name of India, but it's also the name of the first tribe, right, from India, where they get their name from, right, where the country gets its name from. But it's also the leader of not just the tribe, but all of the Indus civilization, okay? So every single time you see Bara, it's short for this. Okay. This is Ja, Bara. And remember we said this was Rathika, Rebus to Rat. Okay. Ja Bara Rat. Priya. Ja Bara Rat. Priya. The one who is the beloved leader or bearer of the people. And so the full form of Bharat is Bhararat, but because you collapse repeated, you can collapse repeated letters or sounds. It's just Bharat, right? The RA and the RA become one, so it's Bharat. Jabarat Priya. So there you have it, Bharat. How cool is that? It's so cool. So yeah. Yep, so that's the original name, just like Pharaoh for Egypt. It's Bharat or Bhararat for the Indus Valley. Okay. Remember how I said that, well, technically there are three ajas. There's aja, AJA for unborn. Then there's aja, AJJHA for inner, your inner person. Now here's AJJHA for the mover or the instigator, right? The one that starts an action. And this is the meaning of the swastika. Okay? It literally is chakra. Okay, we already know that it represents that, but the word for swastika was originally sakra. Okay? Rasa, sakra, aja. The A is dropped here because it's trying to differentiate itself, right? or they are differentiating this aja from the other aja. Okay? Remember initial A dropped or U. Okay. The essence of the circle, the mover. The essence rotates outward in all directions. Through literally means this. If you look it up in this dictionary, you can see a whole plethora of meanings that all generally mean this. Rotating outward in all directions. Okay? So, we know that the cosmic chakra, the circle, or the swastika, right? The essence, the rasa, radiates out in all directions from it, right? It's the originator, right, of it. So it's therefore the mover, the aja. All right, so we're going to go through the appendix. Okay. We're skipping all of this because I actually have this in the lexicon. Just without the images, but we'll go through it all. Okay. All right, Appendix B. Okay, so this says Ja Kavish Vishkya. The prudent warrior, Vishkya. Or called Vish. I'm wondering if they're just referencing Vishnu, but just saying Vish and that's it. I don't know, but this is a name. So here we have Kirvish, Vish, Nama, Aki, Rasa. Pouring forth homage towards the essence. Really, you don't need to say here, even though that's what Aki means, but pouring forth homage towards the essence. This is Pra, Maha, Dra, Pra, Dvarapala. Of great might, the broad-shouldered is implied, right? The broad Dvarapala. Now, this is an abbreviation in and of itself, okay? Ganpri is Gana Priya. Okay? Su-ya Gan Pri. Gan Pri. Okay, so it's Suya Gana Priya, the sacrificial offering or libation to the one fond of song, or the lover of song. Okay. And I said possibly referencing ritual offering of ghee to Agni, as Agni is associated with chanting and song and ritual offerings of clarified butter. Okay, but then we look in the next inscription, we can confirm that it actually is referencing a god, a deity, or a deva, right? So here we have Suya Gana Pri, right? Abu, so the unmanifest, the sacrificial offering or libation to the unmanifest lover of song. This is Panka, Nka, Panka, Panka, Gata, Api, Sa, or Sapra, okay? Chapra. Now, This also means 7, not just sapta or shapta. Okay? In what's his name? The commentator of the Rig Veda, okay, Sayana, he stated that, yes, Sayana, sapta and sapra are synonyms. They mean the same thing. So there's a T-R alternation there. But they both mean 7. So Panka Gata Api Sapra is the 5 hymns of the 7, meaning, I guess, the 7 sages. Here it's Sutsak Mara Vira, attending to strike down to death the hero. Now, this is not saying that they're intending to strike the hero down. It's the hero doing the action. But I've noticed that they tend to kind of, it's like a pause, like the hero is doing this. Okay. Having a little trouble with this one, but this is hard. Rebus for deer. It's giving me a little bit of trouble on translation, so if anybody knows, let me know. Here we have na, and then this is difficult, okay? So it's a combination of ka right here. Okay. You have ja. This is na. So it's na janaka. Na janaka. Imha stavira. Let not the father proclaim he is too old. Okay, implying not begetting children, I'm assuming. Okay, but stavira also can be an epithet of Brahma at the same time, but I think, considering the context, it's just saying too old. This is Pagratha, or Apagratha, Vara, Misa, Amitra, Ni. Okay. Injury, the best among or for the enemy's destruction. Here we have a vocalic L. Here's a vocalic L, and it actually is the word Pali. So I was able to figure out what Pali means. I know that scholars were kind of iffy on that, and whether or not Pali was ever spelled with a vocalic L. It is. Pali means restrained. So, from a philosophical perspective, that's what it's talking about. Not physical restraint, but so it's Pali Vira, the restrained hero. Pita Rasa Abili. Risra? Yeah, Risra. The gathered essence in order to adhere. I don't know. That's okay. Alright. So then we have Pali Atsu. And then remember, this Nara sign is holding an object. So it's going to be the word for the object. Bhavana. House. Right? So initial A is dropped. Here it's not Pali adherence, it's the opposite. It's apali. Okay. Apali. Subhavana. This is an actual philosophical tenet. Subhavana. Okay, so now we can add the fricative form to the list of spellings. Okay? So this means unrestraint is not well adherence. Okay? However, because it's using the term subhavana, I think it's referencing freedom. Okay, freedom from non-abiding, but also abiding. So it's the idea of, non-duality, right? Sva-bhava, or sa-bhava, or subhavana. Okay, it talks about well adherence. and the philosophical idea of non-duality. Mi, and this is la, pa. Mi, la, pa, graha. I'm not sure about this one. It's an upside down saw. I know that much. Okay. Pa, piaja, vara, ka, ja, vatva. Okay. Most excellent water lotus to plant as seed. Virayata, aja, sru, danda, rasa, pravira. Pavi, graha mi gratha vira. Vira satirtha adru vap vira. The hero, as the unborn, sends the rod's essence forth as the hero. The offering is grasped, sheds, binds the hero. The hero's sacred crossing place hastens towards the casting hero. So I think this is talking about when you cast the seeds into the fire during the sacrifice. Pretty sure that's what this is talking about. And of course they use the danda, the rod, right, to perform the actions during the sacrifice. Okay, so that's that, but I'm not done because I'm going to talk about some of the science I was able to figure out. I really wish there was a way to split the screen. If anybody knows, that would be good. So I don't have to go back and forth. Oops. Okay. Okay, so there are signs that already are attested in current Indic script for Sanskrit. And so I was able to figure out that they are the same in the Indus, but why they are as they are is because of the Indus script, right? For example, sign 10. Okay. This is a Nara sign with the yoke. Okay. First I was like, oh, okay, well maybe it's a slave or a servant, right? So dasa. Okay. And I was like, nah, that breaks the rule. That I don't think that's correct. So I think the focus is on this, on the yoke itself, which would explain the origin of the yoke and the other signs here. I know it's na, right? But why is it na? Couldn't figure it out. Until I took a little bit closer look. Right here is the explanation. Nadha is the word. Nadha. It means like to bind together. Here, so let me show you. Okay. Bound, tied, drawn up, raised. Okay. Bound, tied, bound on, bound round, put on, fastened, joined, connected, covered, inlaid, embroidered, interwoven, a tie, fastening, band, bond, knot, deliverance from fastenings or fetters. Well, nadha, vimoksha, is deliverance. Moksha, right? We know that word. So, nadha, fastenings or fetters. So that's where the sign for na comes from, is nadha. Cool, right? And let's see what else. What else can we find? I'll just roll through the signs to be easier that way. Okay. Feel free to ask questions if you have any. Okay, so I had already put YAU or YO for this sign. Okay, this is already attested as being Ya. Okay, so I knew that this was a Y vowel one of some sort. And so I was like, oh, it's got to be YO or YAU because it's using this here. And I was like, I know that's kind of a U noise, right? And because, again, remember every line means something. So that V sign, or V shape, goodness gracious, what page are we going to? Alright, is this. And this means boo, BHU, or BU. So, I was like, oh, it's you. It's not yao or yo, but it can be because I realized that Sanskritic alternation exists between AU, O, and U. So then I know that this was YU. And I'm like, well, what word? What word is that? What could it be, right? We know to look for tools being used in fire rituals. So that's what I looked for. And this is Yupa. Y-U-P-A. Yupa. It's the standing post for the sacrifice. Yupa. So that's why that exists there. Again, we know that this is Mu-Mo. This is also the origin of the M sign. Let's go back to right here. Okay. Here we have the M. You can see the evolution of it over time. But that is the Nandibol M. This is Thata. Or sorry, this is Thata. Okay. But originally it's an oval. This is Da, right? DH, it's a bow. Danu. This is an N. This right here is Ya. Now, all I did was take the long line and shift it down. And realized that that was Ya. Here's Ba, Bari, square, right? We have the Pa sign. It's a U-shaped sign. Here's a Ja. It's the quote comb that you see here. This is ta. There are other Indic scripts that I studied to figure out the rest of it, but you have to look at all of them to really kind of grasp all of it. Some other information, and that is the origin of the word Matsya. It didn't originally mean fish. The meaning of fish is secondary. Okay, so this is Matsya, reconstructing the true morphological root of an ancient Sanskrit compound and its cosmological significance. Okay, because this is major. Okay, Matsya has been glossed or translated as fish. Okay, but that's incorrect. It's been bifurcated or separated in the wrong place. It's also been treated as its own lexical value entirely, even during like Sanskrit grammar. But I now know that Matsya is talking about the concept of avatar. Okay? So, the bifurcation of Matsya is in the wrong place. It should be like this, right here. And the only reason I noticed this is because of the Indus script fricative, right, the TS. I knew that this was the correct placement. Okay, so this is an old word, right? A very old word. Ma means measure or physical form. Okay, Sia is a suffix, means of or pertaining to. Except this one is just the fricative form. It still means the same thing. Okay? So this is literally saying of or pertaining to physical form. The reason why Vishnu's first avatar was called Matsya is not because it was a fish, it's because it was his first physical form, Matsya. So he was referenced Matsya, its physical form, not because it meant fish. Because the physical form was a fish, the word Matsya became like eventually to mean fish. Okay, so the discussion of Matsya in the story of Sat and Asat and the two siblings coming forth out of the fish, right? It makes so much more sense now when you read it from Matsya as in pertaining to physical form of manifestation, right? Sat. And the concept of avatar, right? Completely changes it and makes it make sense, okay? So the little boy, right? He was named Matsya when he came out of the fish. Okay, his sister, and I don't want to mess up her name, so I'm going to go down to it. Excuse me. I can find it. Did I pass by it? Let's see, it's probably below the table. If you will excuse me just for a minute, I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so and let me scroll down a little bit, see if I can find it. Anyway, okay, so um, her name was glossed as like she smells of fish, right? But that doesn't make sense. So this and they end up forming their own kingdoms, right? The kingdom of Matsya, which still exists, it's in the center of India, and it's always been glossed as fish, but it never made sense. That doesn't make sense. So if you gloss it as representing Matsya of like an avatar concept of coming into physical form, that's literally what they did. They came up out of the fish into physical form, human form, right? Same thing with how they were told to be incognito in their own kingdom, right? Is the concept of Asat and Sat, right? They literally are becoming Asat, even though they are Matsya inside Matsya, right? The kingdom of the physical form of Sat. So it represents the manifest and the unmanifest, is what I'm trying to say. That is the original meaning there. And so it makes the story closer to the original philosophical element by glossing it as physical form rather than fish. Okay. Now, what really is interesting is there's Iranian tribe, okay, that was visited by a Greek historian, okay, and he was trying to transliterate their name. Okay, so he translated it as Matsagatai, okay? But, of course, I mean scholars. I'm trying to find it so you can actually read it along with me. This one alone. Okay, found it. Of course, as soon as I find it. Okay, let's go through here. All right, so the tribe, Massagetai. That is how, right here is how he transliterated it as much as he could into Greek. Okay. However, scholars have translated this as the people of the fish. Okay? Or fish eaters, and it just didn't make sense, right? So Masio is the Avestan reflex of Matsya. Okay? So Masio is how Avestan is, it's said in Avestan. So there's old Avestan and younger Avestan. Okay? The old Avestan language, Masio does not mean fish. It means mortal, man, or human. Okay? So, that being said, my hunch that Matsya has to do with physical form is correct. Okay? Physical form of a mortal, right? So, Old Avestan, Masio, means man or mortal. Okay? So, Harmata, who stated this, right? Alright, so Harmata glossed the first part correct, but when he got to Getai, he glossed it as kata, which I don't even know how he thought that was correct, but to me, Getai looks a lot like gata. Gatha. Okay? So they're not saying fish eaters, right? Okay? They're saying Matsya Gatha. Okay? It's the people of the hymns or the sacred songs. And Iranians were Zoroastrians, right? So they are the people of the hymns. So that makes sense. Matsya Gatha. Masio Gatha. Not fish eater. So anyway, this is my entire paper, all 60 pages, supporting my reasoning behind Matsya being physical form and not fish. Alright, well thank you so much. I am ready to go to sleep. If you have any questions, you can email me at founder@glyphpublishing.com, and feel free to check out my other works, The Sacred Mountain of Haoma and Soma, and the Voynich manuscript, The Cipher and the Compendium. You can find both, actually all three, on Amazon, and you can find the Voynich manuscript, The Cipher and the Compendium, also on Ingram Spark.